The calorie deficit, the true key to fat loss. You just need a calorie deficit, mate. Technically true. Also, one of the most annoyingly reductive things you can say to someone trying to lose fat. It's like telling someone who wants to build a house, just put bricks on top of each other. While true, it misses about 1,000,000 crucial details. But let's be honest, understanding what a calorie deficit is does help. It's the foundational principle. So let's talk about it in a way that actually makes sense, without oversimplifying or making it seem impossible. How fat loss really works. Every single diet that's ever worked, from the trendy keto craze to the steadfast vegan approach, or even the absurd "I only eat when Mercury is in retrograde" diet, works for one singular reason. It helps you consistently eat fewer calories than your body burns over a given period. That, my friends, is what we call a calorie deficit. Your body is constantly burning energy, or what we quantify as calories, just to keep you alive. We're talking about fundamental biological processes here: breathing, thinking, circulating blood, digesting food, maintaining body temperature, and yes, even the hours you spend scrolling endlessly through TikTok. This baseline energy expenditure is always happening. If you manage to eat exactly the amount of calories your body needs to maintain all these functions and your current weight, then you're in a state of maintenance. Your weight stays stable. But if you consistently consume less energy than your body requires, your body has to find that missing energy somewhere. And its go-to reservoir for stored energy is, you guessed it, your body fat. That's when you start to lose weight. Conversely, if you consistently eat more energy than your body needs, that excess energy has to go somewhere, and it's typically stored as fat. Usually right where your jeans start to feel a little too snug. Calories are just energy. So, let's clarify. Calories are simply a unit of energy. Think of them like fuel for your car or battery life for your phone. If you eat a 300-calorie snack, you've just provided your body with 300 energy points, ready to be used. If you eat a massive 3,000-calorie meal, that's like filling up your car's tank or having a full energy bar in a video game. Except in real life, your character doesn't level up. It tends to get a bit fluffier. Your body essentially has a checking account and a savings account for energy. The food you eat is like deposits into your checking account. If you don't deposit enough to cover your daily expenses, your body automatically dips into its savings account, which is your stored body fat, to make up the difference. This is the fundamental mechanism behind fat loss. The role of exercise, more than just burning calories. Now, a common question arises. Can't I just burn more calories with exercise? And the simple answer is, yes, you absolutely can increase how many calories you burn through physical activity. When you hit the gym, go for a run, or even just take a long walk, you're expending more energy. However, your body is incredibly clever and highly adaptive. It's not just a simple calculator. When you start exercising more, your body has a tendency to compensate by subtly burning less energy in other, less obvious areas. This is known as non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT. It might mean you unconsciously fidget less throughout the day, or you feel more inclined to take naps, or you simply move less when you're not actively working out. So, while cardio certainly helps to create a deficit, relying on it alone for significant fat loss is a bit like trying to empty a bathtub with a teaspoon, especially when the tap is still running at full blast. It's incredibly inefficient and often unsustainable. Your diet, meaning what you put into your body, is the much bigger lever.
How to determine your calorie target. Okay, so how do we actually go about creating this mystical calorie deficit in a practical way? There are a few approaches: the Harris-Benedict equation and similar formulas. If you're someone who loves math, spreadsheets, and detailed estimations, you can use a formula like Harris-Benedict to estimate your basal metabolic rate, BMR, which is the minimum calories your body needs just to function at rest. You then multiply this by an activity factor to get an estimate of your total daily energy expenditure, TDEE. From there, you subtract calories to create your deficit. The spoiler alert here is, it's still just a guess. A very fancy, scientifically derived guess, but a guess nonetheless. Individual metabolisms vary widely, and these formulas are generalized. The body weight shortcut. For those who aren't math enthusiasts or prefer a simpler starting point, there's a straightforward rule of thumb. Take your current body weight in pounds and multiply it by 10 to 12. This gives you a rough daily calorie range to aim for fat loss. For example, if you weigh 175 pounds, you could aim for somewhere between 1,750 and 2,100 calories per day. This isn't a perfect number, but it's a solid, actionable starting point. The key is to begin there and then adjust as needed, which brings us to the next crucial step: tracking, observing, and adjusting, the real trick. Here's the real trick, the secret sauce to sustainable fat loss. You don't need a perfectly precise number from day one. What you absolutely need is to track, observe, and adjust. Start by using a food tracker app, or simply write down everything you eat for a few days to get an idea of your current intake. Don't judge it, just observe. Then, weigh yourself daily, ideally first thing in the morning after using the bathroom, and look at the weekly average of your weight. Don't get hung up on daily fluctuations, as those are normal. If your weekly average weight isn't consistently going down after 2 to 3 weeks of sticking to your estimated calorie target, then it's time to make an adjustment. A good rule of thumb is to lower your daily intake by about 10%, and then try again for another 2 to 3 weeks. It's not a race, it's a systematic process, almost like a scientific experiment, but with snacks and feelings involved. Why fat loss slows down over time. Now, a common point of frustration: why does fat loss slow down over time? This is a fun fact of biology, and it's completely normal, not a sign that you're broken. As you lose weight, your body actually needs fewer calories to maintain itself. Think about it. A smaller body requires less energy to move around and sustain its functions. Additionally, as you diet, your body
often becomes more efficient with energy, a phenomenon known as metabolic adaptation. It's like your body going into energy-saving mode, thinking, "Oh no, he's dieting again. Better conserve every last calorie." This is why someone who weighs 150 pounds can't eat the same amount as someone who weighs 250 pounds and expect to lose weight at the same rate. This is completely normal. It's not a failure. It's just biology doing its thing. The key is to understand this and be prepared to adjust your calorie intake downwards as you progress, choosing the right deficit size. So, how big should your deficit actually be? A good general guideline is to aim for a 200 to 500 calorie deficit daily. A smaller deficit, say 200 to 300 calories, will result in slower, but generally easier and more sustainable fat loss. You'll experience less hunger, more energy, and it's easier to stick to in the long run. A bigger deficit, perhaps 400 to 500 calories or even more, will lead to faster initial weight loss. But be warned, hunger levels and general grumpiness may increase by 200%. It's a trade-off. You need to choose the approach that best fits your lifestyle, your hunger tolerance, and your commitment level. It's truly about choosing your own adventure here. It's also about calorie quality. But what about the specific foods you eat? Does food quality matter? Absolutely, yes. While the calorie deficit is the fundamental principle for fat loss, the type of calories you consume makes a huge difference in how you feel, how much energy you have, and how easily you can stick to your plan. Some foods are significantly more filling and satisfying than others, even if they have the same calorie count. For instance, 300 calories of highly processed cookies will leave you feeling hungry much sooner than 300 calories of lean protein and vegetables. Furthermore, high protein intake is incredibly beneficial because it helps to preserve your precious muscle mass during weight loss and keeps hunger at bay. Protein has a high satiety factor, meaning it makes you feel full longer. It also requires more energy to digest, which is an added bonus. So, no, it's not just about eating fewer calories. It's about eating smart calories. Prioritize whole, unprocessed foods, plenty of protein, fiber-rich fruits and vegetables, and healthy fats. Strength training versus cardio. What's more important? Finally, do you need cardio to lose fat? Cardio can definitely help burn additional calories, but don't worship it as the sole solution for fat loss. You could go for an intense, hour-long run and burn 500 calories, which is fantastic. But then, you could easily eat all those calories back in 5 minutes with a single, seemingly innocent muffin or a large latte. This highlights why focusing on your diet first is paramount. Nutrition is the foundation. While cardio has immense benefits for cardiovascular health, endurance, and overall well-being, its direct impact on fat loss is often overestimated compared to dietary changes. Interestingly, strength training is actually far more effective for maintaining and even building muscle mass while you're in a calorie deficit. More muscle means a higher resting metabolism, which means your body burns more calories even when you're just sitting still. Plus, it helps you look toned and strong, like someone who actively lifts and takes care of their body, not just someone who runs away from their problems. Final thoughts and tips. So, to summarize, the core principle of fat loss remains elegantly simple. You must consistently burn more calories than you eat. But putting that principle into effective, sustainable practice is where the challenge lies. That's why it's incredibly important to track your food intake to understand your habits. Monitor your weight regularly, focusing on weekly averages. Adjust your calorie intake as needed, based on your progress. Be patient with yourself and the process, because results aren't always linear. And finally, laugh at your mistakes, learn from them, and try again with renewed determination. You don't need to follow the newest trendy diet or resort to extreme measures. You just need a clear plan, some consistency, and perhaps a healthy dose of self-compassion and a bit of sass when things get tough. Your path to success. Cheerful. Now that you actually know how to create a calorie deficit, with all its nuances and practical applications, you can stop falling for those magic diets and quick fixes that promise the world but deliver only frustration. If you've got questions, don't hesitate to drop a comment below. And remember to like, subscribe, and give your scale a little pep talk. It's about to get busy.